Hello and welcome to the video. This video is going to be about something a little bit different, radio controlled. Normally we talk about planes, we talk about wings, multi-rotors, getting them, fixing them, flying them, setting them up, and lots of different bits of testing. And I've been interested in getting into radio controlled cars and trucks for ages, and I think I finally found the right model for me to take my first step into this. This is the little 1/24 scale Basher Rocksta from HobbyKing. This is the new version that has uprated gears for the steering. The previous version had plastic gears and they occasionally could strip, but this one is a version that has metal gears. Now it isn't particularly big. As you can see, it's sat on my hand. It looks a lot bigger in the pictures on the HobbyKing website. Comes with the transmitter as well. You're going to have to buy a battery for it, and the transmitter itself takes standard AA size batteries. But for less than £72, you can have pretty much everything you need. So in this video, what I'm going to do is quickly go through and show you the model, show you what it's like. It has an impressive suspension system and also lots of different ways that you can drive it around. I'll go through the unboxing, show you how it comes and what different bits you get, because as well as the little rock crawler, you do get the radio transmitter as well. Pretty basic, but actually works really nicely. Then I'll take it out into the garden and we'll have a little bit of play. I'll show you this little thing in action. So before we get into a lot of detail, let me kind of explain that I am pretty new to radio controlled cars. This is something that I've always wanted to do since I was a little kid, back in the days where you had to have special licenses for cars. Yes, I am that old. And this thing is fantastic. I mean, the way that the suspension is set up on each side and the way it can move around, the tires are nice and knobbly and quite flexible as well, so it tends to be quite grippy. The front and back is run independently by two brushed motors, which is a little bit sad, but you can get into the gearbox. And the other cool thing about this is all the spares are very much available. So if you do something and it falls off the top of a wall and hits the ground and cracks, then you can get spare arms, motors, gears, gearboxes, and all kinds of other bits and pieces too. It's 95mm high, about 130mm wide, and about just under 190mm front to back. Wheelbase is 136mm, and the ground clearance is at maximum 28.2mm. Now, driving this around, what I found is that it can get up most things. If the obstacle is around 2 inches high, it can usually get across it. Any more than that, it tends to ground out the body in the middle. But considering the size, it can take on some pretty big obstacles in the house or in the garden and get over them without too much trouble at all. It's about 274 grams. The battery compartment is 50 by 30 by 15mm. If I just pop the top off, you can actually see the battery that I've got in here. I'm running a really small battery. You don't need a massive pack in this for it to run. You just pull these P clips out, the bottom undoes. It's a JST connector. I'm actually running a little Turnigy 350 milliamp hour battery, and that gives me an awful lot of driving time. In fact, let me just pop that out. I'll pop it on recharge because I'm probably going to play with it again once I've done the video. The radio itself, let me just show you this. It's a pretty basic car radio, powered by 4 AA batteries at the bottom, so you're going to have to get those as well. They don't come with a kit. So with these batteries and the little battery that you need for the little Rockstar itself, everything else comes in the package. At the top you have a number of controls. So you have reverse channels for both the steering and the throttle. By default, squeezing the throttle makes it go forward, pushing the throttle forward makes it go backwards, and then you have the standard kind of steering. That's full lock to lock, so it's quite intuitive. The other controls on here, then you have the trims for your throttle and also for your steering. My steering needed a couple of clips of trim just to be completely straight on, and then you have the power switch at the bottom. The other switch is this one at the top, and the easiest way to explain how this works is if I press it, it goes through each of these modes. First mode, mode 1, is standard front wheel steering, so that's what you'd expect. Pretty big turning circle even at full lock. Press it again, takes you into rear wheel steering. handy to get out of trouble if you are struggling. Then you also press it again to go into like a crabbing mode, which is where both wheels operate at the same point, so you can kind of go side to side without having to turn as such. And the last mode, which is the one that I personally like, is the one where the front and rear wheels steer together in opposition, and that allows you to do some very tight turns, and it's brilliant for driving around the bottom of things like planters and chairs and things in the back garden. The box that it comes in is smaller than you expect, and in one side you have the model and it's all ready to rock and roll. The only thing you have to do is pop in a charged battery. There isn't any battery charger in this, so again you're going to have to make sure you have something like that you can charge the LiPo battery that you need to pop in its stomach. And the other big box then is for the Control 2, and you also get a couple of manuals. So you're not showered with lots of additional packaging, and the box itself is only just big enough to hold both the model and the radio transmitter. So after driving this around for the last week, what do I think about it? Well, the first thing to comment on is that a lot of the images that you're seeing at the moment, I'm going at full tilt. It is not a particularly fast model. The high gearing of the motors means that it has quite a lot of torque, and it will go up some pretty steep inclines on those nice grippy tyres. But it does mean that when you're flat out, even flat out, it's just crawling along. It is an awful lot of fun. I can spend a happy 20 minutes exploring the back garden like something out of Jurassic World. And it is small enough to get into lots of nooks and crannies in the garden, and the suspension works really well in getting over all but the biggest obstacles. The only problem that I have with this, occasionally if it goes over a twig that manages to get up in between parts of the suspension that kind of locks it up, that's the only thing that will stop it successfully getting over an obstacle. One of the things I am thinking of doing on here is maybe designing a 3D print for the front that will take a little micro camera with a micro transmitter to do some FPV. Now, I'm a big fan of FPV on quadcopters, planes and wings, and the opportunity to put it on a little car like this and go and explore places with it from a very different point of view is something that's really exciting me. And hopefully by using one of the modern small video transmitters with a little linear antenna, as well as one of the micro cameras, hopefully that should be a relatively easy thing to do. If I design something to go at the front to replace this front metal piece here, I will post it on Thingiverse. So keep your eyes out on my Thingiverse page, because I think with those two mounting holes, that's crying out for a little camera to be kind of here and the video transmitter antenna to be at the back. So stay tuned for that. There is an option to add your own receiver. All of the intelligence is actually done through this main board in here. It has the receiver in it, it's got the power button, the bind buttons on here as well, and then on the other side it has the outputs for the two brush motors, front and back, and also just the two servo connectors that are in control of the steering at the front and back as well. So a little bit disappointed that there isn't an opportunity to add my own radio too, but I found that the radio that comes with it actually works really well and easily has enough range even for the biggest back garden or running around the house. I do like the fact it's all in one. The price I think is pretty good, considering that you get pretty much everything you need with the exception of the batteries in the receiver and the model, and obviously you're going to need some kind of little charger for this little guy as well. But I love the fact that for that kind of money I've managed to take my first steps into radio controlled cars and found that, you know what, actually I really enjoy it. I might now start to look at maybe getting some faster vehicles, because my friend and I have definitely been thinking about doing some testing and launching wings and planes off a fast moving radio controlled car, maybe adding some kind of device on top that the plane would sit in. It feels a little bit Thunderbirds, but we've had this idea for years, and now I know that this is something I could get into. Maybe the next purchase is going to be something a little bit bigger, maybe a little bit faster too. So hopefully that's been interesting for those of you that have seen the Rockstar advertised recently. Again, I can't comment on how much better it is than the previous version, but for the cash I have been pretty impressed, and if you're thinking about get one, then you know what, I would probably give it a shot. If you have half as much fun with it as I am, then you'll probably think it's value for money as well. If you found that video useful or like the content, then please hit the like and subscribe button down below. If you want to go the extra step, you can become a Patreon of the Painless 360 channel and help provide support for what I do here. All the videos created here are put into playlists, so if you're interested in a particular topic, have a look at the playlist, and they all are organised in there to make them easier to use. If you're not sure if there's a video for your particular problem or topic you want to know more about, then add Painless 360 to the Google search term that you're interested in, and that should find the video, article or content about the particular thing that you're interested in having a look at.